Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever episode, the inaugural episode of Call It in the Ring. This is Chris. I'm here with my guy Mike.
Yo.
Today we're going to be discussing the 10-match card we have for Money in the Bank 2018 held in Chicago, Illinois. It's going to be All-State Arena. This is why this man is here.
I know the facts.
So we have our two Money in the Bank ladder matches tonight. We have our two women's championship matches tonight. And we have our, WWE championship match tonight. Sadly, there's no universal title match because, Brock doesn't show the fuck up.
Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah, we do have the IC title. That's basically the Raw title now.
Yeah, it is the top belt on Raw.
It basically is. So we're gonna count the matches down starting from the pre-show. First match we have on the card is the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Good Brothers. Harper and Rowan versus
SmackDown Tag Titles.
Yeah, for the SmackDown Tag Titles. Mike, who do you have and why?
As much as the club needs this win, they've needed wins badly since they've been booked awfully since their debut. Pretty much, it's too soon to take the titles off the Bludgeon Brothers. They just won them at WrestleMania. They've been dominating SmackDown Live, destroying the Usos. Naomi's out here crying, begging them to stop. So I just think it's too soon, and I don't really think WWE has faith in the club for whatever reason. They haven't booked them strong at all, and this is just like a temporary challenger. I do think it's going to lead to a few sanity for the Bludgeon Brothers at some point. But, the club will have a good showing, but I just don't see them picking up the titles.
All right, good point. I'm actually going to be the devil's advocate here. I'm going to be choosing the Good Brothers, mainly for the simple fact that I think this is going to be a good turning point for them. I think if they can win here, they'll have a lot of momentum behind them. I do understand that there's the prospect of Sanity coming up. We've been waiting on them for well over a month now, and we haven't seen anything from them. And I also think that given the fact that there's rumor that the next Extreme Rules card is also going to have AJ versus Nakamura 6 rather.
6, yeah.
There's like a thing there where they can run a storyline where the club gets involved with AJ's beef with Nakamura. Nakamura is just taking him down at every turn.
Sure.
But they're going to need credibility for that. Otherwise, they're just going to be AJ's guys getting thrown around. It's going to be like the Miz Taraj, and we don't need that. So it's not good logic, but I'm going to go with the Good Brothers.
Listen, I hope you're right. I would love to see them win the titles. Because as much as I'm a fan of Luke Harper, the Bludgeon Brothers aren't great as a thing.
Yeah, they kind of gave up on them as soon as they won the belts in Mania. Feels like kind of before then, actually.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because at least like Rowan's like a solid hand, but in my opinion, Harper's the workhorse talent in that team, and he's a solid promo too if he gets the opportunity to do so.
Right.
And now we're gonna go on to the next match, which we think is gonna be the match opening on the card. It's gonna be likely Seth Rollins versus Elias for the Intercontinental Championship. The reason why I think this is gonna be opening is because Rollins has been on the hot streak for the last couple of months. Having amazing bouts, and he's been a good curtain jerker. He's great for hyping up the crowd, getting shit going. Personally, between the two, I think Rollins is probably not going to be walking out with his belts. There's rumors that Rollins is going to be taking the belts off of Lesnar at SummerSlam, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I don't think Vince is going to let Rollins walk in with two belts. It's just not happening. He'd be too dominant. They've been protecting the hell out of him earlier on in the previous month with his loss to Elias, when Elias and Jinder beat him and Roman. But yeah, I just think that's where it's going. It's just not going to be Rollins' night. It's for the sake of a better goal. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think there's still the potential that Reigns is the one that takes the title from SummerSlam, but I agree here. If they're going to have him drop it to anybody, Elias makes the most sense right now. Elias is super over. He's been on a hot streak lately, and he's the guy that can cheat to win and pick up the belt. That way, it keeps Rollins looking strong.
Oh, like a guitar spot?
Yeah, a guitar spot or whatever. But
okay,
it definitely keeps Rollins looking strong. He doesn't have to lose clean to Elias. Elias is IC champ at best. I don't really see him moving up the card from there. So this would be, a nice reward for the good work he's done since coming up from NXT. And like you said, hopefully Rollins is the one to take the belt off Brock because he's been killing it for the past 2+ months.
True, and it's not like we haven't seen a big man versus small man match when Brock's been involved. We had that really good
Oh,
Beast versus Best with Punk and Brock, and I'm pretty sure
and
Rollins
there
can
was also
deliver.
the there was also the triple threat with Rollins, Brock, and Cena at
Or Royal
Royal
Rumble.
Rumble
14?
2015. I want to say
I think it was 20.
14, 15.
No, it was 15. You're right. It was 15.
And it was a great match.
Yeah, I I wouldn't have an issue with that. I think that'd be pretty good going forward. The next match we have on the card is the match nobody really wants to see, unfortunately. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal for nothing. They're just fighting because Jinder screwed Roman out of the Money in the Bank ladder match
Because
qualifier.
it's his yard.
Yeah, and Jinder wants to prove that he can hang around with the big dog. Who do you have and why?
As much as going back to our last match, I want Rollins to be the one to take the belt off Brock. It's probably going to be Reigns. So I'm going to go Roman Reigns in this match. I think he needs the win. He's lost to Brock several times, and he's been getting screwed over by Jinder and Sunil Singh for the last couple weeks. So, it's an inconsequential match. If Jinder loses, it doesn't really knock him down the ladder. If he wins, it elevates him quite a bit. But I do think Reigns is going to pick this up, start building momentum going into SummerSlam, where they'll probably eventually take the belt off of Brock.
All right, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'm actually going to be going with Jinder, and the reason why is the same reason why I thought Rollins is not going to be walking out with the IC title. It's for the sake of de-elevating Roman, like lowering his stock a little bit, so the crowd get a little bit more sensitive to him. They've been like super desensitized to him. They don't give a fuck about Roman anymore.
Oh, sure.
They haven't really given a fuck for like the last 3 years. They've just booed his push because they know where it's coming from. And I think that's really going to hurt him in the long run if they keep pushing him down people's throat. Granted, I understand that beating Jinder is not really a big deal anymore. He's not WWE champion anymore. He was US champion for like a week. There's not really much stock they have left in Jinder. So I understand the logic behind why like Jinder doesn't really need the win. But I think Jinder's win will help Roman, at least in Vince's mind, be a little bit more sympathetic to the crowd. There's rumor that they're going to fight again at Extreme Rules, so the only reason why I see them having that match again is if they needed to have some kind of rubber match where, or at least some kind of, I guess second match out of the three, because WWE likes to work in threes now.
Sure.
So I'm thinking Jinder's going to screw Roman out of this match, probably from a Sunil Singh assist or some kind of DQ win, and Roman will try to get his win back in the next pay-per-view.
Sure, I mean, it definitely makes sense, and having Reigns lose, like you said, does nothing but benefit him because the criticism is he's Superman. He gets beat up for 90% of a match, hits his spear and Superman punch, and wins the match. So
and if it was
having him
like
lose
Jinder
here could definitely, like you said, having him drop down the card a little bit is a good way to start to endear him to the WWE universe.
Okay. What the fuck was that? All right, and the next match that we have on the card is going to be the hopefully the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, consisting of Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. It's going to be for a women's championship match of their choosing against the champion of their brand. So Mike, who do you have and why? So,
last year we got Carmella from SmackDown. I mean, obviously it was a SmackDown only match at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she held the briefcase for 286, 7 days, something like that. So I don't think we're getting a SmackDown women this year. As much as like Becky deserves it and probably needs it, it's going to be someone from Raw. And to me, the only real options there are Ember Moon and Sasha Banks. And for Ember, it's kind of early. So I'm going to go with Sasha. She definitely needs it. They've been doing these like weird stop-start pushes with her. The weird feud with Bayley, where she was kind of turning heel, but not really.
Yeah, really
her push has just been horrible. So she definitely needs something. And she's not winning that women's title at the moment. So I definitely think it's going to be Sasha. My theory, though, being that the rumor obviously and pretty much confirmed at this point, James Ellsworth is re-signing. I don't see him realigning with Carmella. It wouldn't make a ton of sense. But I could see him aligning with Sasha.
Okay.
As heels, the legit boss gimmick is kind of similar to Carmella's gimmick, and
you could see him as an underling type character.
Yeah, and it would
Okay.
definitely help with her transition towards being a heel if she has Ellsworth, who ruined, quote unquote, the women's Money in the Bank last year, come out and help her win it this year.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, and it would get him a lot of nuclear heat, which he can then give to Sasha just by association. I could see that working out. Um,
Yeah,
while I do agree with the sentiment that it's not going to be a SmackDown wrestler, I do think it's not going to be Sasha. Personally, I actually believe it's going to be Natalia. Main reason being that Raw Women's Championship match is going to be happening later that night. I think that's going to play a big part in their feud between Rousey, Nia, and Natalia. I think she's going to be the one getting that briefcase. Granted, I understand the logic behind Ellsworth coming back and how that can definitely play in. I think if your theory is correct as far as Ellsworth interfering in that match in particular, I think he's probably going to interfere off the sake of like, oh, I'm just trying to keep the people who are, on SmackDown from winning, so Carmella isn't, in danger of, getting cashed in on.
sure. And I could
But
definitely see him screwing Becky over because of their
oh
little
yeah, their
feud that
long
they
running
had.
feud. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Natalia just for the simple fact that I think that between her and Ronda and Nia, they're gonna insert her, and it's gonna affect that women's championship match. All right, so the next match that we have on the card is going to be the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match between Asuka and Carmella. You went last time, so I'm going to go first this time. I think this is potentially going to be the sleeper match of the night. It's going to be a solid match. It's not going to be the best match of the night, but it will be up there. Obviously, there was the whole controversy where Carmella and Charlotte had a really bad match last time. But I think Asuka's going to be different. I think Asuka can carry Carmella to a good match. She can, she can kind of cover up some of Carmella's weaknesses by just highlighting the fact of Asuka's ability to just dominate. I think it's going to be a one-sided affair, and I think Asuka's going to win by DQ. I think your theory about Ellsworth is right, but I think it's going to be for this match. And I think that she's going to get an assist from Ellsworth, or she's going to cheat to win and end up walking out with the title, but Asuka will walk away with the W.
Sure, I think your assessment of it potentially being a sleeper is, it's possible. Asuka could definitely carry her to a decent match. I agree with you though. I do think Carmella retains the title here. Asuka will pick up the win somehow via DQ. My theory is Absolution interfering because Asuka's been having this mini on again, off again feud with them over the last month or so.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just too early to take the belt off Carmella because then it kind of destroys the Charlotte Asuka match from WrestleMania. What was the point of her breaking Asuka's streak just to drop it to Carmella for Carmella to lose to Asuka? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah, I definitely think Carmella retains the title, and we see this match again at SummerSlam where Asuka will pick up the belt.
All right, that's not bad. I actually kind of blanked on that. I was just making the sense of her reign. It just wouldn't make sense for Asuka to win so early, but I think
Sure.
I think definitely considering the WrestleMania 34 women's match, that'll also be like a very big caveat to Asuka winning tonight, and it's not going to happen. She's just not going to win tonight.
Yeah.
Next match we have on the card is going to be the Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn match. It's another match. It's kind of just a thrown together feud. It needs to end. Hopefully there's not going to be a rematch. There's rumors it's going to be a rematch at Extreme Rules. Obviously no one's really happy about that. But if you're a Supercard fan, from what I've heard on Twitter, Supercard's going to be having the winner of the main that match be the main card for the Goliath tier for Team Road to Glory this Monday.
Event,
Oh yeah, it's not the main event. It'll be main event for Supercard, but not main event for the show. So who do you have and why?
So this is the second least interesting match of the night behind Reigns and Jinder.
I agree.
But I think they have to go Bobby Lashley. He hasn't done much since coming back, other than talk about how much he loves his sisters.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really follow his run in TNA or Impact, but from what I understand, he was dominating over there. He was doing
He won every belt that wasn't the Knockouts title.
Yeah, and he hasn't done shit since coming back to WWE. And unfortunately for him, it's bad timing, right? Like no one expected Brock to resign, and he did. So they kind of can't give him that gimmick. But
Sure.
he needs this. Sami Zayn can definitely take a loss. As much as I love Sami Zayn as a heel, especially, would like to see him win it. He can definitely take a loss, and Bobby just really needs something to kind of wash the stink of this "I love my sisters" gimmick out of people's mouth, and especially that segment with Sami and the men dressed up as his sisters. It's like very reminiscent of like the old day segment, and
This Is Your Life
nobody wants to
segment.
see that. Oh, the Bailey "This Is Your Life" segment.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible.
I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn, but for a different reason. I think it's just been really bad for Bobby since he's came back, and he's had 2 really bad botches, and I feel like they're gonna hold that against him.
He almost dropped Elias on his head.
And when he dropped Big Cass on his head at the Greatest Royal Rumble, like he dropped him on the ring apron. I think that's kind of why he's been stuck with this stupid "I love my sisters" gimmick, because I don't think he would have had it otherwise. I really don't. I think he would have come back as the Dominator Bobby Lashley. They would have probably found some other stuff for him to do, probably feud with Braun Strowman for a little while. But I don't think he would have been pigeonholed into this really bad slot, even with Lesnar staying till SummerSlam, had he not done what he did. Obviously, accidents happen. Bobby's in his 40s, so it's not as though he's, like 20-something. He's not as agile as he used to be.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be like one of those stupid petty punishment things where he's just going to lose for losing's sake because they just want to get back at him for making mistakes.
Yeah, I could see.
And Sammy can use the momentum because Sammy's been effectively the loser out of him and Kevin Owens. He hasn't really won a match that mattered in the last year or so. I just don't think it's going to happen. Kevin Owens had that amazing Raw where he was involved in 3 different matches, so, I just think it's going to be one of those things.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Honestly, I don't really care who wins.
Yeah, I don't either.
I hope for Sammy, but it doesn't really matter. If this feud ends, that's all that really matters to me.
All right, and we're going to move on to the next match, which is going to be Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. This has been one of those weird feuds that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Neither man really benefits from winning this match or losing at this point. I'm personally just going to go with Big Cass because I think that they're going to have a rubber match at Extreme Rules, and I don't want to see it, but I feel like they're investing too much in this, and it's just really bad. Mike, who do you have and why?
Yeah, when Daniel Bryan got cleared, I was super happy,
Of course.
but I never thought the first feud for him coming back would be Big Cass. It's been horrible. Much like you said, I'm going Big Cass. Daniel Bryan beat him at Backlash.
Very handily.
Because he put him in the yes lock and he tapped out immediately. And the rumor is because he had heat because he attacked the little person when Vince told him not to. So he needs the win. There's no point in having Daniel Bryan go over him again. Daniel Bryan has come out and said that he likes working with these younger guys because he wants to elevate them. So I definitely think he's going to put Big Cass over at least once in this feud, and this will definitely be the time he does it.
I can understand that. I just hope that Daniel wins the rubber match if that's the case. That's all I want. But I understand his contract is in limbo because he hasn't signed, so that's also an issue. That's probably going to be another contributing factor to why Cass wins, but we'll see. Next match we have on the card, moving on to brighter and better things. Sadly, having to say that regarding Daniel Bryan. We have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, consisting of Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev of Rusev Day, can't forget Rusev Day, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and whoever the New Day decides. Who do you have and why?
So to start, I'm going to say I think the New Day puts Woods into the match.
Okay.
Just the other day at E3, he's out here, playing Street Fighter against Kenny Omega. WWE is advertising it, which was kind of crazy. And, so he's been getting a lot of good publicity with them. He really hasn't gotten a ton of time to show his in-ring ability. He's kind of underrated compared to the other guys, even though they're great as well. So I think it's going to be Woods. But match-wise, I don't think it's going to be someone from Raw. I think the women's Money in the Bank winner is going to come from Raw, so I think we're going to get a SmackDown guy here. And it makes the most sense for it to be The Miz. The Miz has been on fire since the draft in 2016.
Sure.
Especially his stuff with Daniel Bryan. He's elevated his game a ton. I mean, I wasn't a Miz fan up until the last year and a half or so. And there's the potential that if Daniel Bryan resigns, he's probably going to pick up the WWE title later this year at some point, maybe from the winner of the main event. And it makes the most sense. You have Daniel Bryan, his return to the main event, he wins the WWE Championship, and then you get nuclear heat for the Miz by having him cash in on Daniel Bryan and ruining everyone's happy moment. So I'm going to go with the Miz.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. I'm also going to be going with the Miz, but regarding the New Day pick, I think it's gonna be Kofi. Granted, now they haven't really spoken much about getting Kofi over. I know there's talk about Big E getting his push, the way he's been, they've been trying to work on him getting his push, but the big factor that I've been seeing, regarding the New Day is they've been cutting a lot of promos about Big E backstage and how badly he needs it as far as him getting over, but they've also been talking about how badly Kofi needs it, considering how long he's been tenured, what he's brought to the table, his athleticism and everything else he's done. We have that gap year in 2009 where he was at the top of his game and he got screwed from some backstage heat with Randy Orton.
It could have been.
Yeah, he could have been a main eventer right now. I remember going back 2013 when Randy was dual champion and Kofi beats him with a SOS off of distraction from John Cena, and he's cutting a promo about how if guys like him can just get that one chance to get a guy like Randy down for 3 seconds, he could be champion.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those bittersweet moments, how far have we fallen for Kofi. I just think he deserves to be in the match. I'd love for them to tease him winning and potentially even have him win, but honestly, it all comes down to it just being the Miz at the end of the day. He's done amazing work, like you said. The last 3 years have really just been his genesis, and he deserves it. He definitely deserves it. The storyline's already built in with Daniel Bryan. Nothing much else I can really say. Next is the penultimate match. It's going to be Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax. We're under the belief that this is going to be the next to last match, even though Ronda's in it. Who do you have and why? It's going to be for the Raw Women's Championship.
I'm going to go with Nia Jax, mainly just because, once again, just like the Bludgeon Brothers earlier in our early prediction, she just picked up the title at WrestleMania. She had that awful feud with Alexa Bliss going on for a while about being a star and bullying and all this shit, and she cut this inspirational promo when she won the title, even though she's kind of reverted back to being a heel over the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's too early, and it's too early from Ronda. When she signed with them and was doing these promos with the Authority, her whole thing was I don't want to be treated special. I want to be earning my opportunities like everyone else. And I think putting the belt on her this early, it's going to create another effect like Brock or Reigns, where the fans are going to resent her, especially because she hasn't wrestled on Raw at all, and she's wrestled in one match, which was at WrestleMania outside of the house show circuit. So I just think it's too soon to put the title on her. So I'm going to stick with Nia.
I definitely agree that Nia is going to win the match, but I do not think she's going to win simply just because of that. Even though, granted, there's definitely the issue with Ronda not having a litany of matches under her belt. She's very green still. Obviously, that match at WrestleMania was super scripted, and I understand all that.
To make her look great, yeah.
Yeah, of course. But there's also the whole talk of I remember recently hearing that Ric Flair let it slip on a podcast that her contract's only 1 year and that the whole thing about it being a multi-year deal was a flub. They were gonna have her there for 1 year and see what happens. There's talk of her trying to have kids. There's also the added fact of we don't know how this feud's gonna go. There's talk of like I was alluding to earlier, that Natalya could potentially be involved in this feud and might actually interfere in this match on the night of Money in the Bank, which is what I think will happen. It's going to cost Rousey her match. It'll keep her safe because she wouldn't have had to have been pinned or submitted to, be, screwed out the match. So she'll still keep her record intact, and at the same time, Natalya gets some extra heat by, potentially cashing in and failing her Money in the Bank attempt. or just not cashing in entirely, but still, causing the DQ ruling to screw Ronda out the match just because she doesn't want to fight Ronda, but she's willing to take a weakened Nia. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Nia retaining just through different means.
Sure.
And the last match we have on the card is gonna be the last man standing match between AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura with the Kinshasa for the WWE Championship. Obviously, unfortunately, we do not have a Universal title match because, Brock doesn't like playing fun. He doesn't like giving us matches we want to see. I mean, he hasn't really given us match we wanted to see since Survivor Series, but, that's not the case here. So we're getting the best that we can get right here. It's Shinsuke Nakamura 5, which is really, really kind of trash if you think about it, that it's had to go on for this long.
It's been a bad feud.
It's been a really bad feud.
It definitely has not lived up to expectations.
I was hoping it was going to go the route of the Kevin Owens AJ Styles feud, where they kind of phoned it in for the first 2 matches, and then on their final rubber match, they had a really good match. But we'll have to see what happens. Mike, who do you have and why for this last match on the card?
I'm gonna go Nakamura on this one.
Okay.
So far, there's rumors that have leaked for advertisements going into August that it's going to be Nakamura versus AJ Styles on house shows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, card is always subject to change, and if they're not wrestling each other, they're not going to want to give that away now. But aside from that, Nakamura really needs this. Like I said, this feud has not gone the way any of us have hoped or expected it would. The only good thing about this feud so far is Nakamura's heel turn, which has been great.
Mm-hmm.
But the matches have all been bad.
Yeah, they have.
So Nakamura definitely needs this. I'm gonna do a little long-term booking in my argument with it, where one of the reasons Nakamura signed with WWE is because he wanted to wrestle Daniel Bryan, and was very disappointed when Daniel Bryan had to retire. So now that Daniel Bryan's out of retirement, we haven't seen this match yet. So I think Nakamura picks up the title. We see the last match happen at Extreme Rules or SummerSlam between these two guys, and then he goes on to feud with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan picks up the belt, and we get that Miz cash-in that I talked about earlier. But Nakamura definitely needs this win more than AJ does. And as great as a champion as AJ Styles is, he's held the belt for 8 or 9 months at this point. It's time for a change.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I've heard similar things as far as regarding the house show circuit. There's rumor about them fighting Extreme Rules. It could potentially be AJ getting his rematch for the belt. I don't think they'd have Nakamura challenge for a 6th time, if that was the case. I'm gonna go with AJ. Like I said before, alluding all the way back to the pre-show with the Good Brothers, why I think they deserve to have the belts. I think it's gonna kind of help elevate. Like AJ loses the belt, they put it with the Good Brothers to kind of keep him looking strong. He has a faction again.
He's with champions.
Yeah, he's with champions, and then Shinsuke is just lording on the fact, hey, I've gotten your belt, I beat your boys up all the time. They're the tag team champions, and they can't even handle one little guy by himself.
Sure. Yeah.
And it just adds more extra heel heat to Nakamura when he inevitably wins the belt. I think there's no other time to do it than now. I think WrestleMania was a great time to have done it, but they fucked it up then. So
Greatest Royal Rumble was a great time to do it as well, and they didn't do that either.
But
yeah, I mean, like you said, if
it's a long time
AJ wins
coming.
here, there's no motivation for there to be another match at Extreme Rules or SummerSlam.
And it'll ruin Nakamura's stock. So, if it hasn't been already.
It'll fall down the card dramatic.
Yeah, it'll be almost reminiscent to almost like a worse feeling, in my opinion, than the 2 times he lost to Jinder in a row. So,
yeah. Forgot about
fingers
those.
crossed.
I try to erase those from my memory.
Bad times.
Oh, bad times. Especially when you're there live for it. Bad times.
Oh, yeah. But with that, guys, that's going to be our Money in the Bank 2018 card coming from Chicago, Illinois, Allstate Arena. If you like what you've seen here, please like, subscribe, and share. You will be finding more episodes of Call in the Ring coming soon. We'll be working on some projects for you guys, getting more wrestling thoughts and opinions out, getting some more content out for you guys on a more consistent basis. Please like and check out our descriptions of the social media that we have in links down below. We have Mike's Twitter for our Call in the Ring YouTube channel. We'll be having more content coming out there if you want to follow us there on Twitter. You can also follow Mike's YouTube channel, which is our Call in the Ring YouTube channel. It will be in the subscription box down below. Mike, is there anything you'd like to add?
Leave your predictions in the comments, and hopefully it's better than Backlash.
Definitely. With that, we'll be seeing you guys around. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show more than we will. And yeah, look forward to more content. Catch you guys around.